Well, hello, friends. How are you? What's going on, man? This is the Game 3 Podcast, episode 91. How have you been, man?
Yes, pretty well. It's been a good week. A lot of gaming. A lot of gaming.
You got a haircut. You look like an idiot.
You look like an idiot every single day.
Oh, it's true. That's why it hurts. You're not supposed to say true things.
You're not supposed to say it if it's true.
You think that was Stephen Colbert, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not supposed to say true things. Oh, man. Yeah, but hopefully that's nice on your hair, but I'm sure it's not. It's not. What's the temperature there? Like 50 degrees?
No, it's been the 70s since I've been back in Colorado. Let's see.
Oh.
Currently it is. This is riveting radio, but wow, it got up to 80 today.
Oh, you must be miserable, David.
It is. I almost had to turn on my AC, but then I decided not to.
Did you know that our AC actually can't even keep up? Like, it got in the 80s inside my house because it was in the hundreds outside. And of course, I called the AC guy. I'm like, "What is up, man?" Because I'm like sweating inside my house with a fully functioning air conditioner. So I thought. So I was like, I'll just call this air conditioner guy. He gets there and he's like, "Hey, man, what's going on?" He takes a look and he's like, "Everything's fine. It's just too hot." I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, you got vaulted ceilings, so the heat just rises. Has a hard time cooling that." I was like, "Are you telling me that my 3 whatever thing that's way oversized for this house can't keep up?" And he goes, "Yeah, I mean, they don't really take into account the real deep south when they make those numbers." I was like, "No, you're telling me Mississippi's hell. That's what you're telling me." So I may be looking at buying a new one if I want to.
Maybe you should buy a new house and a new state.
I need to buy a new state. So that's like $2,200 or something for a new unit. And I was like, do I really care that much? It's only like 2 months.
Well, in contrast, I have not yet turned my air conditioner on this summer. I just leave my windows open, and everything feels great.
Oh my god! If I leave my windows open, it feels like someone is taking a hot dryer, hair dryer, and just blowing it under the. And I'm like, "Oh, get the heat out! Satan wants in. Tell him no."
The deep south. I do not miss it.
So bad. But anyway, yeah, pretty good week, man. I've been playing some games for show.
Should we just do game experiences right now? Because we played a lot of the same games this week.
Yeah, we might as well. I mean, we haven't. Today's a lot of it's about news. It's about the E3, so I guess we don't really need to do the regular format. But yeah, let's do game experiences, man. So I guess it's no surprise what you've been playing, but why don't you tell everyone?
Well, I've been finishing up Assassin's Creed Unity, which is it's a game that's been on my summer to-do list since I bought it. And
I saw your screenshot that you put up on
the goddamn mess. All those objectives. It kills me as a completionist. It looks like you described it as herpes, just outbreak on my screen.
Oh, that's the worst. I remember Assassin's Creed 4 whenever I would get I hated it whenever somebody would be like, "Hey, could you help me out by getting all the coconuts from the trees?" or some stupid thing. And it cluttered the map even worse. I was like, "I'm not talking to anyone. Shut up. No one say anything to me. I'm just going to get this crap off my HUD."
Yeah, I started just going district by district, cleaning out each objective, getting each treasure chest, solving each riddle. And then about halfway through, I don't know, I'm about 50% completion through the game, which means I've been doing a lot of stuff. And I was like, you know what? No, life's too short. So I made a breakthrough. I'm actually just going to complete the story missions and call it good. A couple of the listeners are looking to do multiplayer missions. I'll do those because those are fun. But I'm not doing any more of these find a treasure chest. There's 100 francs in it. Not worth your time.
No, I mean, I know 3 guys named Frank, and I don't need any more than that. So I don't know what the point of it.
100 francs.
That sounds fun, though. I mean, I like that setting, and most importantly, I like that one how you can pimp your guy out however you want. You
he looks super cool. I look like a freaking sweet French swashbuckler. There's one of the outfits is the Musketeers uniform, so it's like a sweet feather in your cap and just cool boots.
Sweet.
So dude, I look pretty stylish.
I remember as a kid, we used to make fun of girls, be like, "Go dress up your dolls." We were missing out, man.
Yeah, this is the most fun part of any game.
People, and I don't even pretend like you don't like that. I watch people. I used to play NBA games. And people would make their little thing meticulously, put a little, they'd be like, I want an arm sleeve on this arm and these tattoos on this arm. I'm like, you're playing dress up, dude. But
yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's Paris, which I love. I love being in Paris. I love, I've got the game turned on to only French, so it's kind of helping me review my French. And I'm like, oh yeah, I realized I was actually fluent when I was texting somebody, and then out of the corner of my ear I was listening to the cinema scene and I was following it, and I was like, wow, I actually understand French well enough to just half listen to it and still know what's going on.
Mm.
So it's been fun for that, and I don't know. I'm biased towards this game because every single little database thing I unlock is something I was like, oh, I learned about this in college. So it's kind of like I like this game more than I probably should. Like most people did not like Unity, but I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, it's fun. It's the French Revolution. I just helped Napoleon break out of a cool like prison thing. It was sweet.
that's awesome. Yeah, I think that's really a lot of the fun of the Assassin's Creed series is you know,
If you're
the
like a
historical
history
part.
nerd, yeah,
Yeah, which I don't understand. Like the first one, I felt was really like that, and it got a bigger audience. But then now there's a lot of like, I mean, there's like a lot of these like 10-year-old to 12-year-old like Call of Duty type, you know, kids playing these games and like, you know, wearing the I say cosplay. I was about to say cosplaying, but going up to Halloween, you know, as Halloween to the Assassin's Creed guy, and I'm like, you don't know
yeah.
anything about history. What are you doing? But I
No,
guess it's, you know,
it's a cool way to introduce history to kids. It makes it more interesting for them. Like
wait,
my friend who is an English teacher was teaching Moby Dick, and I was like, oh hey, you're teaching Moby Dick. So I sent her a clip of like hunting down a white whale on Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and like the kids were way into it. They're like, oh yeah, whaling, I did that. So it's like that's how they used to whale. You know, they get on those little boats and they throw harpoons, and so it's kind of educational. Kids learn and they have fun. Edutainment.
edutainment. Wait, are you saying like the traditional teaching method is actually really dumb?
What I'm saying is violent video games make kids murder each other.
Yeah, I've been researching some stuff for the whole second part of academia dissertation, and I'm looking at this instructional design and technology stuff. Like it's like how to teach people things.
Mhm.
I've been really interested in that, and we do it all wrong, man. Like that kind of stuff's cool. Like integrating that knowledge inside and then making people want to learn it rather than through aversive techniques, like you're going to get an F if you don't, but
Yeah.
through repetitives, which is like things that drive them to do it. Like playing a video game's fun. If I'm whaling too, awesome, and then teach them. But
Yeah, that's kind of my philosophy. If they're not interested in French, they're not going to want to learn it. So I try and make it cool, make it fun.
yeah, well, that's fun.
You've been
Also,
playing something. What have you been up to?
oh, I've been playing so much. Obviously, Chrono Trigger for the book club for anyone who wants to
Yeah,
who's following along. I think a lot of people have fallen off track, and I get it, man. Like I have a hard time squeezing that in with my other
gaming
hobbies that already take
obligations.
myself. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm caught up currently. I'm 19 hours into the game, so you know it's an investment. There's a good 5 or 6 hours a week you got to be willing to do to keep up with the book club. But the people who are doing it are having fun.
yeah. I don't, man, not for me. For some reason, it's been taking a lot longer. I think it's because I'm not. It's been a while since I last played through, and also like I wanted to level up some people. Like, oh man, there's that sweet. Well, I want to charm so that I could. I remember there's a boss, the Mud Imp. I really wanted to like get something off him, and turns out it was something dumb. I don't remember, like a mermaid cap or something. Yeah, mermaid cap. I was like, dang it! For some reason, I remember grinding this over and over, and then getting charm. So I did that, and then a couple other little sections like that. I fought Specchio like 7 times in a row. One time, I was like, dang it! Let's fight him
Specchio
again.
is so tough.
Ugh, yeah. But anyway, we'll talk about that on the bonus episode. But I've been playing that. Been playing obviously Heroes, and then I've been playing. What else have I been playing?
I know one thing you've been playing,
Oh,
Splatoon.
Splatoon. Yes, Splatoon. My wife did not want me to get this game for the kids. Well, she wanted me to do it as like a behavioral, something to work towards. But I was like, our kids bring us coffee in bed in the morning. They're good kids. Let's just get them something. So I have pleasant memories. We were super poor, so I have these real nice memories of going to the like store, and then the day where I could finally get a game, and it wasn't based on any contingencies. It was just like we can finally afford it. And I know I'm spoiling our kids, but I was like, man, I gotta get the Splatoon game. They're gonna love it. But I played it myself. So fun.
Yeah, what were your impressions? We played a little bit last night, the night before.
Last night, yeah.
Yeah,
It's hilarious. It really does put like itch that scratch of like needing to mark trees or something as a dog or something. I don't know what's going on, but I'm rolling, and there'll even be an enemy, and I'm like, I see him, but killing people is fun in those games, right? That's kind of part of the point.
right.
But I'm like, but I'm just gonna finish this little back alley first. Like, what is it that's so competitive about painting, a surface that I skipped kind of the fun part of the game, which is fighting other
I
people.
want to mark my territory.
Yeah, it's so weird, but it's fun, man. It's desperate. It's weird. It's hilarious. I love that game. It's awesome.
And the match
And
is
it's like,
actually pretty close. Like the respawn timer is really low, so you're never out of the action for too long. And they've got that mechanic where you can warp back into where your friends are, so you're always just like right back in the thick of it.
yeah. And it's weird because you have to use a Wii controller the Wii U controller as a like tilt it back and forth the gamepad to like help aim assist. It's really strange.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's that way. Like people like me who've been playing FPSs for these random people that are playing. So it really helps level the playing field, which is smart. Plus, it helps you think like really. You just have to think weirdly. You're like, oh, I need to get up that wall. I'll just shoot paint of it, turn it into a squid, and suck up the side of it. Like you just don't think about those things. So it's
yeah.
fun.
There's an interesting balance in the different weapons where, if you're in close range, then the paint roller just kills everybody. But if they just like fall back and shoot you, there's no way you can catch up to them. So you like need support from people who can shoot and cover you. Like, I don't know, it's strangely addictive, and the matches are just short enough that you just want to jump into another one after every match. You're like, oh, okay, 3 more minutes, let's do it.
Yeah, there's something weird. Okay, so like in FPSs, I used to be one of my nicknames was the shotgun sniper. Because I used to play Counter-Strike, and I always picked a pump shotgun, because it's super cheap, and it's a real skill-based thing. Like you have to get up close to someone for it to be any good, and well, supposedly. But I would like it's all about like cutting corners and angles. So it's really about like thinking about how you're going to approach someone, and then after a while, it's really like its own little talent, its own little weapon set. So in here, the splat roller, that little paint roller you use, kind of scratches that itch, because it's all about like getting close to someone with while breaking line of sight as much as you can.
Yeah.
And then hopefully getting them at a strange angle, like from behind or to the left or somewhere. And it's almost like that, how wolves, how they'll chase you if you run away. It's like that, because like I get behind someone, I'm like, yes, and it just like makes you. They're like running, they have no idea, or they're splatting the ground or like the wall. They're like, let me just get this painted up, and
you're like,
wrecked.
Here I come.
Literally,
yeah, there was
over.
this one the other night where this guy was shooting at me, and I just ducked behind a corner, and I turned into squid form, so I just disappeared into the ink, and he was like shooting around, and he's like, oh, I guess he left, and he just kind of went back to what he was doing, and I was like, yes, and I leapt out of the ink and just splatted him. Like, you have this weird kind of Assassin's Creed kind of gameplay where you just want to like jump up on someone and insta-kill him.
Yeah. I had a guy. This guy had splatted up the back of a box and squidded up it, landed on the top, and while I was trying to shoot him my zapper, I had a little Nintendo zapper, and I was like, where'd he go? And I'm rotating around the box, and I'm thinking he must be rotating on the other side perfectly. I don't see him, because all of a sudden he just jumps literally on top of me, and he's like, roller, bam, and like wrecks me. And I was just like, that's just good play. So there's all these like Japanese kids on there that are just disgustingly good.
Yeah, it's because we were playing at like 3 a.m, which is daytime for Japan.
Yeah. But I always feel bad because occasionally there'll be people like my kids playing, and they're clearly just like rolling all by themselves, and I'm just like, you don't know until you start engaging them, and they just keep rolling, and you're like, oh, sorry, I totally blew you up. But that game is fun, man. It's so fun.
Yeah, it's weirdly fun. Like it exploded. Like it became a smash hit. Everyone's like, it's hard to find copies of it now.
Just adding that mechanic of like kind of like that creep spread battle, of like where you just have to paint your territory and you get bonuses if you're in your paint, and if you step on their paint, you're screwed. So you kind of have to shoot the ground in front of you to chase someone if they're in their color paint. So it really like.
And you try and cut them off if they're running away from you. You can like make your color paint in front of where they're trying to run, so they get stuck in it.
Oh, that's smart. Nice.
Yeah, it's I don't know. That's what Nintendo does. They take something like a third person shooter, and they just kind of add a creative twist to it that just changes the game entirely.
Yeah, Blizzard like refines and polishes and cuts fat. Nintendo just adds something weird to it, and it somehow works.
Yeah,
but
like, let's try this.
I loved when we were both rollers and we were like acting like a pack of velociraptors. We're like like rolling them into a corner, and they're like, clever girl, right before we kill them. That was awesome.
It's a lot of fun.
How many times did we ended up on the opposite teams? There's no guarantee you're going to be in the same team just because you're playing with a buddy. And then so we just turn a corner. The smart thing to do is to turn around and walk away. We're better of an asset to our team because we're usually in the top one or two.
Destruction if 2 rollers hit each other, because it kills them both. But we're like, oh yes, and we just charge each other.
When really we should just turn around and we're gonna do better for our teams alive, because rollers are pretty good if they do it well. Yeah, and we seem to be doing pretty well. So. But no, it's just bloodlust. You just turn the corner and like, how dare you? Just roll each other down.
How dare you be an enemy roller?
Even though it's David, I'm talking to him on the phone. Like I have it on speakerphone. So we're communicating. That game is about impulses. It's hilarious.
It's great. But I'm not even like a shooter fan, but for some reason when you add squids and paint to it, I'm all about it.
You're all about it, which is weird because you're a cephalophobe.
I am a cephalophobe. Proud.
Oops, I didn't pause my down, did I? Oh my gosh. I hope my voice wasn't roboting. Anyway,
what else have we been playing? We played Borderlands, the pre-sequel.
Yeah, yeah. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, okay. I love Borderlands. It's hilarious. I don't enjoy the oxygen mechanic. Like you're always looking for oxygen. It kind of kills your desire to explore. Sometimes you just after a fight, you just want to hang out and talk with your friends. Like that was awesome, and you're looking through the loot, and you're just kind of like, and you're like, oh wait, no, I'm dying from lack of oxygen. So the game really
Mhm.
incentivizes you to play as Claptrap.
It was a robot who has no lungs, but it's fine. Yeah, the oxygen mechanic was a horrible design decision, and that they got ripped off from day one about that. Because even during development, people were like, "I don't think that's a good idea," and they're like, "It is, trust me." And they're like, "I don't know." And the gaming sites were like, "Yeah, we tried it out. We don't really like it. We hope you change it." And they're like, "Nah, trust me, it's gonna be great." And then it came out, and
Gonna be, it's gonna be
everybody's like,
awesome, mate.
"This is bad. This is horrible." And then they're like, "You should have liked it though. You should. It's pretty cool." And they're like, "No, it's dumb. It's like the Sonic levels where you have to get the bubbles. It's
Yeah.
not fun."
Bum, 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 ba-da-da-da.
I don't. That causes me stress. My blood pressure probably just shot up. Hated those.
Yeah, like it could have been like I love the jumping, like the like the low gravity jumping. That's fun.
Yeah.
Maybe more of that, and then maybe just give us like a spacesuit so we don't have to worry about the oxygen.
Yeah, yeah. And it's fun spatially. It's cool that you spread out your characters more because in Borderlands it got very like explosive-y, and it still does a little bit, with all the elemental effects and explosions and people jumping. Because even in Borderlands it was kind of a soft gravity mechanic, probably half gravity,
Yeah,
felt like. So this one's like double that half, which is a full.
but it
Hold
gives you
on.
cool moments. Like I'm
Yeah.
playing a sniper and I'm jumping up. I hit one of those little jump pads and I'm like, whoa! And I see the boss. I'm like, headshot in midair, and I pull it off because I'm so slow.
Dude, what happened? You should have been an FPS person because I will be there would be people I'm running at him because I'm like a sword and shield kind of girl, I guess in the game I'm Athena. And so I'm like, let's get this, and I activate my shield, which absorbs all the damage, and then at the end I got to throw it for all the damage to absorb. So it's great. So I just want to run and get shot, but I run at someone, the guy shoots me 2 or 3 times, and it's like his head explodes. I'm like, okay, next guy, I run, next guy head explodes. Pretty soon I got no one. I just throw the shield at the ground. I'm like, God dang it! And then and David's like, oh, I don't know, I was flying through the air and I headshot them all, I guess. And I'm like, well, you don't FPS? What? You should FPS.
I love headshots. Like it's so rewarding because it says crit and those big letters. My RPG says like crit. That's like rolling a 20. It's like it's super motivated to start doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
playing Nisha, who's she's kind of I don't know if the game wants her to be a sniper, but you start off with a sniper rifle, and we're like level 6. I'm still using that level 1 sniper rifle they started me off with because it doesn't matter. Like you just headshot and it insta kills everybody. So I'm just running around. I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
it's super fun.
Yeah. So the minus is the O2, but everything else is hilarious. I mean, you're helping Handsome Jack as he's trying to climb the corporate ladder.
Yeah,
So that's
it's
already awesome.
like a corporate drone.
Yeah. And then it's got the same sense of humor, the same silly like bosses that with weird mechanics. That hopping around mechanic sucked though, that first one, but anyway, it's still fun and funny, so I encourage people to
I'm
play
glad
it.
you're noticing that because when you're playing a sniper in these games, like you feel like nobody knows what you're doing because you're just shooting things that no one else is aware
Yeah.
of yet. Because you're always like looking down your scope, and so I'm like, "Oh, guys, I just got some headshots." I'm like, "I don't think anyone heard me, but it was cool."
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Tim's like the drone guy. He's got a bunch of drones flying around all the time. He's like a mechano fighter or something.
And I'm not sure what
And,
JT does. His character is weird. I'm not sure how it, like, what its function is. It just seems like he dies a lot, and we have to go save him.
what is he?
He's a doppelganger. He's the handsome Jack body double, but I don't know what his role is in the party because it's just like, and JT's down. Let's go save him.
Yeah, I have no idea. I know his ult makes like a bunch of copies of himself, which is kind of irrelevant because I'm a tank. So as soon as I activate my shield, it's like an aggro thing because everybody attacks me, which is great. And so you guys all shoot him and kill him, and I'm just like soaking up all the damage, and then I throw the shield back at someone and kill them, and I can just soak tons of damage with that character. So I don't really know what the point of the hollows is.
I wish
I
he would
don't,
have played Claptrap. That would have been a good party.
Claptrap is awesome.
Claptrap's whole mechanic is high-fiving his teammates and then buffing them.
And then getting buffed, yeah, and freaking like one's called maniacal laughter. That's the tree I'm going down, where basically it's all about status effects. So if you can zap someone or set them on fire or whatever, like put acid on them, whatever you're doing to them, it's ticking away at their health, and you start maniacally laughing. You're like ah ha ha, and that motivates your team to like do everything better, like reload, shoot faster, shoot harder. It's funny. So that's my guy. And then at the end of that tree is a high five. So you hold your hand up to high five, and if anyone touches it, you get the super boost. But if not, you're the only guy who gets the boost.
Yeah, if they leave you hanging.
Yeah, it's pretty hilarious, but I'm loving it, man. I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Dude, let me just talk about Shadowrun. Shadowrun Returns is another game I've been playing. This game is really fun. It's a first person, or no, I mean, sorry, turn-based RPG, and it's obviously I'm very biased about this, but the story is cool. Like I really don't know what's going on, and like if they keep getting it's like a mystery kind of at first, but then it's one of these like it's kind of like it's really modeled after Firefly a lot because it's like in this like future, you know, kind of weird thing,
kind of cyberpunk.
Yeah, cyberpunk. But then, you know, a lot of the dialogue options, there's clearly like a Mal one because it'll be like a man doesn't know when he gets a job, he just gets it done, stuff like that. And it's even said in that like kind of Western language. And I'm like, okay, that's clearly Firefly. But the other stuff is like a cyberpunk, like urban fantasy. So it's really cool. And the story is like, it's like one of these Dead Man Switch stories, which has been done before in like in these sorts of games, but or movies, where it means like whenever someone dies, then you get a message and it's like, hey, will you investigate my death, right?
Right.
And then you're like, what? That's my buddy. What happened? And then you like, you know, it's this whole intriguing thing that just spirals out of control. But it's right. I feel like they should have stopped. There's a point where they should have stopped, and then now it's starting to get weird. And I was like, what is this? But I don't know. I have faith that it'll be good because I'm probably like, I don't know, man, like 15 hours in, still going.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's fun, man. I highly recommend it. It was like $3 on the Steam sale.
I love Steam summer sales.
Oh my god!
Although the problem is it takes way less time to buy a game than to beat a game, so my backlog just got way worse.
Yeah. I got Dreamfall chapters too. It's a extension of The Longest Journey. Did you ever play that?
No.
Me neither. It got huge critical acclaim, but now it's just one of these games that's dated. So, and it says it's all these people are like the best story ever in video games, and I was like, wow, that's incredibly high accolades, and it's still people still say that. So, it's like the follow up to that. It's another one of these weird worlds of like kind of, you know, what's going on in this world is affected by this other world, and you kind of jump back between. I like that kind of thing. So, plan to play that.
And hopefully we can get more Borderlands. And we're having trouble. We're playing with our friends JT and Tim, and Tim's internet is just not fantastic, so it's hard to get everyone online at the same time. Yeah,
it's the worst. But yeah, that Splatoon, Heroes of the Storm, Borderlands, The Witcher, and Shadowrun have just been. I just stare sometimes. I'm like, which one can I click? I want to play them all. So actually, sadly, Chrono Trigger is not even something I'm interested in playing right now. But playing it's always fun. It's just that I'm like, I guess I gotta play the best RPG ever made. Like that's a good problem to have, but bad timing.
I also spent a lot of time playing the Life is Strange and
really?
Game of Thrones. Yeah.
How were they?
Life is Strange, man. It's still got me kind of like, it really feels just like I want to just chill out and just be present in that game. It's just kind of my wind down game because I'm just walking around, listening to some indie music on my little iPod and just talking to people. Like it's very kind of low stakes, but also kind of weird because there's that mystery of like, whoa, you've got a weird power. What's going on with that?
Yeah.
And then Game of Thrones, I'm going to get a stroke playing this game. It just makes me so stressed. It makes me so stressed. I just can't even. Every time I even see like a character like Ramsay or something on the screen, I'm like, no, you go away. Like any character that's like that I know is still alive in the show, and I'm like, there's nothing I can do. I can't even kill this guy. Like he's gonna win because he's just fine in the show. He's doing all right.
Yeah. Oh so, man. Yeah. You know weird. that is something that this Wii U purchase that I made, which has really taught me, is that I had a real like lack of games that were just chill. So like gaming was like a real like
high stakes, stressful kind of thing.
Yeah, like it came from StarCraft and like or these quick decisioning games and high reflexes. So when you got done, you were like, you would often just breathe. And now like you chill. Even with Splatoon, it's not stressful. Yeah, you're like, whatever,
just having fun.
Yeah. And then the games like Chrono Trigger's not really like that because you still have to you have the quick system. But Shadowrun is.
If you want an easy, like you can turn off the active battle mode and just take it easy if you want.
Oh, maybe I should. Yeah, because Anyway, that's crazy, man. Such a good time to be gaming right now. It's so fun.
I love summer. Love it. It's a good time to be a gamer.
Speaking of summer, E3.
Yes.
So we talked about this.
We talked about our picks for E3 last week, but now we're going to talk about.
Yes, the virtual reality. Like, this is probably the biggest takeaway that all the biggest gaming sites kind of wrote their own article about. And people said, actually, I think it was IGN, they said, this is going to be it. This will be the E3 where we talk about the dawn of VR, because it won't be till by the time next E3 comes around, there'll be 2 sets released, maybe 3. We're not sure about the third. And then the gaming will already start. So it'll just be more games on VR. This is the one where where they all got announced and launched.
Yeah.
So it's huge, man. Like, this is it, dude. Since we were kids, it's what we used to talk about.
Yeah, this is that what's that room in the Star Trek where you just walk in and it's like boom, holodome, holocron.
Danger room.
Danger room. Yeah.
Excellent.
Oh man. It'd be great if it was a danger room. Like it kills people if they fail. It's like game over, bitch.
It's all right. Your healing factor will be fine. Oh, wait. You're not X-Man.
Oh, no.
Sorry about that. Hey, does Spider-Man has a slight healing regeneration, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, a little bit. He heals faster than normal.
That's what I thought. I got in an argument one time, and I was like, well, it's his regeneration rate. Because they're like, how come he could just go out the next night after he got beat up by the Green Goblin? I was like, he's got that slight regeneration. I don't think he took any big hits that last fight. And they're like, no, he doesn't.
It's not like Wolverine where he's just going to regrow an arm, but he'll if he gets a broken rib, it'll take like 2 days to mend instead of a week or something.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, we also dreamed about regeneration when we were kids, sure, but virtual reality in general, holy cow. Let me see. I had some notes here. Where are they? Oh no, it didn't save. Are you kidding me? my computer crashes sometimes when I kick off Google Hangouts if I'm already using the virtual or the video card. But that's okay. I can remember most of it. So there's three ones that got announced. Did you see those?
Yeah. Yeah, there's the Oculus Rift, which we've been talking about for a while. That's the one Facebook bought. And there's the Microsoft HoloLens. Mm-hmm. And then PlayStation has one called Project Morpheus.
Yes, Project Morpheus, which apparently a lot of people at the E3 kept asking him. They're like, why did you name it after the Matrix? Is it because you plug in? They're like, no, Morpheus predates that.
The Matrix didn't invent the god of dreams.
Yeah, I think they even referenced that in Matrix 2. He's like Morpheus, like the god of dreams. He's like, right. And they talked about it, I think. But anyway, yeah, apparently the spokesman that was being interviewed by one of these news sites was like, he's like Morpheus, which isn't about the Matrix. And he goes, oh, you get that a lot? And he goes, it's like all the time. So maybe they'll rename it.
So the Oculus Rift and the Project Morpheus, those are more of the traditional, what we think of when we think of VR, like a headset. It blocks out all of like the external stimuli, and it kind of puts you in your own little world, right? And apparently there were a couple kind of creepy games that were like, there's one where you ogle schoolgirls in virtual reality. So it's like, oh, thanks, Japan. Welcome aboard.
Yeah, they've already started. I don't know if you heard about this, but my mic. They already started virtual reality porn. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, like virtual breast groping. I saw something about that.
Yeah, or it's just like a porn video that was like made with like a bunch of cameras and it's like lap dancing and stuff.
That's what technology does though. Like as soon as any new tech appears, the first 2 things they do is find a way to use it for sex and find a way to use it for war.
Military.
So I'm glad they went sex this time.
Fighting and fucking. Yeah, that's pretty much the VR now. But man, one thing I could take. So HoloLens, you were mentioning that the other 2 are traditional VR. So what makes HoloLens different?
So HoloLens is what we call augmented reality, which is really cool. Like I like this idea a lot. Like the 3DS kind of has something like this. One of the little bonus games it comes with. Mm-hmm. But basically, what you do is it goes over your face, but you see everything with like a HUD will pop up, or like. Actually, there's an iOS game coming out that does a similar thing where you're just walking around and you're looking through your phone and you're just looking around your house, but it's like a horror movie, like one of those lost camera things where like the lights will short out, or you'll see like a ghost, something come out, like an alien or a monster come out of the wall. And so you're looking at your house, but there's like a monster that's not there that you can only see through your phone. So it's like,
oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty creepy. So the HoloLens technology uses that, where you're just looking around. They talked about one that was kind of like Minecraft, where you could just like see your house or like your room or your park, wherever you are, and you could like see these blocks you can add to what you're already seeing in real time. Mm-hmm. Or what was the other one? There was a Project X-Ray where you have these alien bug-like creatures coming out of the walls of your house. So
That's
just it
cool.
kind of takes your surroundings and then augments it, adds new things to it.
I feel like this was a really interesting decision to go for, considering. I mean, I don't know if they just didn't want to enter the same market as the Oculus Rift, or. Well, but interestingly, the Oculus Rift is going to be shipped. The first models are going to be shipped with an Xbox One controller. So surely there's some partnership there.
Yeah, there should be some overlap.
Yeah, and then they said later it's going to have a really cool interface. So first you got the Oculus Rift comes with like just a headset, and they sleeked it down a lot from what it used to be. It used to be this big old clunky thing that looked like underwater snorkeling glasses. Now it's a lot closer to your face. It's a little more ergonomic, which is a word they were all using over and over again, ergonomic.
Right.
But the Oculus Rift is going to soon have these little hand controllers called the Oculus Touch, and it's like little. You know how on the Wiimote how that little nunchuck, it looks a lot like that. It looks a lot like a nunchuck, but it also has like a little surrounding part that surrounds part of your knuckles, so it can determine if you're making a fist, if you got an open hand, if you're pointing, if you're thumbs upping. It can sense all that, and also there's a sensor on the. So it's got a little joystick on each finger, a little joystick and two buttons like BA, or maybe the other ones are like XY. I'm not sure, but the little both of them have joysticks, and whenever you take your thumb off, it can tell that you're not touching it, so it does like a thumbs up. And then when you point, it's got like a little like full around system to sense what your fingers are doing. So
yeah, it's kind of like a blend of the like PlayStation Move controllers and the Wiimotes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this one looks really cool. I feel like Oculus Rift is getting it right. Where HoloLens, that's an interesting way to go about it. Although, did you hear about this app? I think it's an app, but basically, like it is an app because it's a first-person shooter that you look through your phone, and you and friends can get together in like a real space. And then when you look through your phone, though, there's got like things you can't go through. There's like weapon power-ups and stuff, and you shoot each other. So, like you see a commercial about it where these people are like they're just running through a park looking through their phones and fighting apparently, but there's like a game involved, so it's like augmented reality.
Yeah,
interesting. Did you see the Minecraft show or whatever of it?
No.
The HoloLens, the new one. Okay, so this time it was pretty weird. It was almost like an asynchronous thing. So they had the guy who had on the Oculus Rift. So he had not Oculus Rift, the HoloLens. He's got his little headset on, and there's someone else actually playing on a tablet playing Minecraft. And he said, okay, so I'm looking at it on this computer screen now, put it on the table. And he said something like execute table or watch table or something, which I think is cheesy. Voice commands never work well. So let's just not do that. Like even Google Talk, which it constantly downloads like real-time data from everyone talking on their phones and tries to normalize them. It still can't get it right. It's just, just let it, don't do that. But anyway, so he talks, and then it shows up on a table, like just a regular table, and then it like collapses in like into blocks, and then it pulls like the big old fortress like rises out of the ground, and he can zoom in on her character and like move around the world. He can like manipulate things in real time. It's crazy. So he's kind of like a DM, which for me had a lot of cool implications. I was like, man, get that HoloLens out here, man. I'll make like a virtual world. I'll be the DM. I'll be like, oh, orcs. But it's so fun.
That's so what do you think? Do you think in 20 years we're going to look back on this as like the moment where gaming changed forever, or is this just a new gimmick?
Man, I think so. There was someone asked that same kind of question. A lot of people are like, is this the VR era? Is this the big explosion? Like non-traditional gaming, like instead of controllers or like the lack of controllers, that exploded after the Nintendo Wiimote came out. People are like, wait, what? And then you get Nintendo, or you get PlayStation Move and Xbox Connect, I think it was called. And then you get the cameras, and like people are starting to realize that there's more things you can do because of Nintendo. I think it will be because they did a couple really sleek things. Okay, wait. So first of all, Sony Project Morpheus is a little different too. This one, they're really starting to figure out. It looked a lot rougher. So HoloLens doesn't have a release date. The other two do. It's going to be early 2016. That's all it says, quote unquote. And
I think Morpheus is early 2016 too, but no specific date.
Yeah, and HoloLens didn't have a release date. They just said, at this time we're not sure. So they got a whole different thing to do. But they're really sleeking down the ergonomics at this point, and the Sony actually I think has better software because it has two 1080p monitors inside the eyes, which is crazy. But it looks less well done everything else. So I think it has better tech, but it's not as cool because it has a camera that sits outside, and so does the Rift now. Because so the big thing that they had problems with was motion sickness. Like most people were like, I get motion sick when I play the game, which I've never had a problem with that, but some people do. Like I can't play an FPS, I get sick. But with this game, they're starting to figure some things out. So each person like goes about it a different way to conquer that. But one of the things they figured out was low latency. So like, if you do this, if you throw your head around, you look to the left like quickly, if it is a little bit behind, that fucks with our brain and we get nauseated. So they had low latency and then high resolution. So like, you look over, so it's sort of tricking your brain to thinking it's actual reality, which is pretty cool. And it's supposed to add to the immersion. But another way to do it is they have a camera that they set up. Even the Oculus Rift has this now. It's like a little camera you set up outside, and it looks at you and it determines what your body's doing, and it adjusts for all that inside the software somehow. Crazy complex, but anyway, the thing that they said was they kept saying like real 3D or true 3D and like 360-degree 3D and stuff, and I didn't really understand that because they were really geeking out for a while. But I guess it's like supposed to be true virtual reality rather than like a simulated kind of, like you turn around. I don't really know what that means, but it looked pretty cool. It looked pretty rough, but I think the Rift has the most development behind it. It seemed to work the best. The Sony PlayStation one had all it had was like you were in like a cage underwater, like how those divers get in those cages to protect themselves from great white monsters. Mm-hmm. It's like that, and that was it. You can just look around, and then you could squat down and get back up, and that was about it. But I don't know, man. I think obviously this is where games want to go for a long time. Been alluding to it, but like Lawnmower Man, the movie, and all those other games from back in the day. It's gonna be cool. But
and on the psychology level, one of our listeners once asked us, like, is this going to be the level of immersion that actually does influence behavior, or do you think we can still separate fantasy from reality even when we're inside of virtual reality?
Yeah, there was like a couple studies done on this. And there does seem to be suggest like there's a small effect, so like a 0.1, 0.2, based on where the camera is. But the biggest predictor is, does the person want to be immersed? Like you can get immersed in a book, like you're like, I can't put this down, or you can get immersed in like a 3D environment. So as it turns out, like the largest predictor to predict if someone's going to be is just their choice going in. They say, how much do you want to be immersed in this experience? And that was the biggest predictor versus everything else we set up. But there are a lot of things you can do to help. So once you've got them in, though, you don't want to kick them out. So it's easy to kick out if you're reading a book or something, because you'd be like, oh, I zoned off for a second. Where are the words again? Oh, that's where I started. And then they're out. And then, but to keep them in the longest, that's the ones where you want to have the sleek HUDs with not a lot of things on it, as immersive as possible. So this will, if anything, hold them once they decide to be immersed. But I don't know. That's a good question, though. Whether it will. There's some to suggest, but it's just context. We understand the football field versus like 2 feet off the football field. Let's say, some jocks are walking home after they played a football game. They're not going to be tackling each other aggressively because they understand the game finished, and that's reality versus reality. So I don't think virtual reality versus reality doesn't pose much of a threat.
Yeah,
like we understand
should function the same way. Like we'll know the context of when we're in a game and when we're not.
Yeah. People are just weird about their worries. Like, I'm sure people get onto this and be like, oh my god, you can strangle someone in real life, like in a game. Let's say it's like a Tom Clancy game.
Muscle memory. You're gonna start wanting to do that every time you meet someone.
Yeah. And for the sickos who want to practice, that's one way to do it. But it doesn't mean you're going to become a sicko because you're practicing it. Like, it's just weird. I just can't hurt people. I do jujitsu and I choke people on a regular basis. And if I have any indication that I actually hurt them, before they tap, I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry. Is there anything? Oh, can I get you some ice or something? Like I'm huge. I really care about people, and I choke the shit out of them in jujitsu. Break someone's arm, or act like I'm going to.
Oh, you're becoming violent.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, but I'm like the nicest guy there. I'm like, hey, I brought everyone some extra water. Like I don't know. Anyway, yeah, but okay, there was a weird implication that the Oculus Rift guy made. So this guy shows up, and this guy's like grade A nerd. I love my fellow nerds, dude, but some of us we've got it going on. Like this guy had a Magic shirt on, not Magic the Gathering, which is a great game. A Magic like zappy little spell effects, and he's on like Twitch at E3 at like one of the largest parts of the convention. At any rate. They're interviewing him, and he's like, I think this is gonna change the world. And they're like, what, the Oculus? And he's like, yeah. And they're like, and you could tell like the guy's trying to be a good interviewer, but he's like, yeah, I could see that, I guess. I mean, people playing video games more, it could appeal to everyone. He's like, no, it's gonna change everything. And he's like, oh, okay, it's pretty weird. What do you mean? And he's like, well, think about this. Why are we all here? We spent so much money to come. And he's like, huh? what? How much money did you spend to get here? And the guy's like, yeah, plane tickets are a lot. Purchasing the event, getting the food while we're here, all that. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, and he's like, why? We could do it all from home for like $0. And he's like, yeah, I mean, it's true, I guess. Yeah. Or he was like, yeah, okay, I can see that. And the guy's like, I think that's how the future's going to be. Business meetings. Why do you do those in person? I'm like, well, we already have a proxy for that. You can do teleconferences. We just don't because we'd rather have you there. Like, it happens. But
there's a book called Ready Player One. One of our guests talked about it last year, so I read it. It's definitely like it envisions a world where everyone just spends all their free time on the net, like in virtual reality, because it's just easier to like hang out with people, and you can just do whatever you want. You're like, oh, let's go play World of Warcraft. We're in the World of Warcraft. We're fighting together. Now let's go have a business meeting. Now we're at a business meeting together. Like it kind of envisions a world where nobody ever has to leave their house anymore. So if the technology gets there, like why wouldn't it happen?
Well, because you'd have to supplement your body because there's a mind body obviously parallel and not dualism, but I mean like what we experience phenomenally in our head is just a sum total of our physical interactions and reactions. So like if you want to get someone depressed, you lay them down in bed for a long time. I can make you depressed by doing behavioral things, right? Socially isolating you. We do it with animals quite a bit, and we see it when humans do it. It causes depression. So like if you can get someone
trick your perception into thinking you're having those sensations, like would that be immersive enough to where you don't need to physically lay down in bed anymore to get depressed?
Okay, so the only way that I could see this working is if you had an actual treadmill and you like, let's say I want to walk in Paris and I'm like, okay, I just walk over to my little treadmill. Like let's say it's
that's how they have in the books. Like the good rigs would have you on a treadmill that would like be 360 degrees. You could run or walk or jump or climb, and it would just your physical body was doing that, but your perception was that you were climbing a wall or sneaking through a bush.
Okay, wow, that would be cool. Okay, yeah. I guess I was thinking about Jacked In, like a lot of the,
like Sword Art Online.
Yeah, a lot of these shows that are like, that's what's going to happen. I'm like, no, you can't. Like, your body knows very well that it did not have that experience. And so if like you can get someone's blood pumping very easily by doing virtual reality and scaring them or something, but it's bad on your heart if your blood's pumping, but your body isn't moving. Like, that's bad. That's why you do cool down and warm up for cardio.
So you'd have to have like a way to physically get your body physically moving.
Yeah, you'd have to stress it, which, hell, I don't care. Like, if someone's going to do virtual reality working out, or exercise, it's great. Good for you. But
yeah.
I still don't know. I think we know deep down inside that, like, remember we had that one episode about sacred space?
Mm-hmm.
I think that this is the first thing I thought when he said that. I was like, first of all, no, you can't trick your body to do that. Nobody's going to do that. Like on Wall-E or something, it shows those people sitting around. I'm like, no, it's just not going to happen. I mean, yes, there are people who are going to be prone to that, like depression prone or whatever, and they're going to, sit down in the chair and just zone out. That's going to happen. But it's not like all of the world's going to do it. But then the second thing was I was like, no, there's just something about it. Like you and I hang out virtually probably every day. But I still spent a lot of money to fly out there and hang out. And I would do it again. And then we were planning for the summer. You're like, hey, I'm going to be in town. You want to come up to Arkansas? I'm like, yeah, sure. I'll spend like $300 to drive up there and live there for a week because it's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
But
I wonder if we had a virtual reality that's similar to the one in the book where for all intents and purposes, we're in the same room. I wonder if because right now part of the limitation is Google Hangouts is not the same as being in the same place. But if we were in like a VR environment, would it be like worth $300 to sit there in real life? Like it's not like I spent a lot of time touching you physically, right? Like Jeremiah, and I'm just like poking your face. I'm like, this is so real.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The interesting thing about this tech is that the way it's advancing, we'll probably still be alive. If this takes off, we'll probably be alive to see it. So in 50 years, we could look back and listen to this episode and be like, oh yeah, we called it, or oh no, we were way off.
Yeah. Although I think, okay, there's two things that come to mind on that. One is we're in America, especially, not only America, but us, we're one of the worst, is we're chronically under-touched. We have a problem where, like, you'll see, this happens in Japan, they'll hire people to just cuddle with them. And this happens here, too. I don't know if you've heard of professional cuddlers.
There's one on America's Got Talent the other day. She's, like, from San Francisco or Portland or something.
Really?
And her talent was cuddling. That was her thing. She's like, I'm a professional cuddler. She's like, I cuddle people.
Yeah, I saw one of these people on Reddit too. They were talking about it, and I was reading about sex workers. A lot of times it was just about loneliness. A guy would invite him over, and they just talk for a while, and then they were like, it'd be like businessmen or something, or people.
Like in Korea, you pay girls just to drink with you. There'll be bars where there's girls, and you just pay them to just have a drink with you and just talk to you.
Yeah, we are chronically chronically under socialized, but also chronically under touched, which is weird because like why would that really matter? But there is a sensation, like whenever you have someone touch you that you want to touch you that you find meaningful. We see
there's
all
like
sorts
a
of
there's like a
positive
hormonal
predictors.
reaction, like endorphins come out.
Yeah, and so I wonder if you could trigger that just through that, which I'm not sure. I don't know how much we could trick our bodies into that. That's a very great question. We haven't even started that line of research towards that question. That's way out there. Then maybe. But I've been trying to touch people more, not in a creepy way, in a very creepy way. Just whenever I'm walking through Buffalo Wild Wings, I was like, that's a beautiful burger, and I'm just like giving a little hand massage. No,
rubbing their shoulders. Hey, good work, man. You deserve it.
Oh god, I hate that. But yeah, no, I've been trying to touch people more, like like being like, hey man, like hit him on the back or something, or it'd be like, oh my friend here, and I touch him on the shoulder, and then you say something because we found. I mean, I don't know if you probably haven't read these studies about touch and stuff, but about babies, right? They can die from if they haven't been picked up.
No, and I was talking about this recently about how the gender difference, like women seem to be way cooler with touching each other than men. Yeah. Like there's just like this weird kind of homophobia fear where it's like, this is my friend Jeremiah, and I gesture towards you without being careful not to touch you. But like girls like hug each other, or they'll like snuggle up on a couch to watch a movie. So like I feel like culturally men get kind of deprived of touch more than women even.
Yeah, definitely. And that's, when people talk about like gender equality, I'm like, men have their own issues. We've got it sweet right now, no doubt. Like if
we got a good position in society, but there are some bullshit things that men have to go through, like,
and that's what you have to do.
Constipation.
Like I was just doing couple therapy today with a couple where one of the people in
Can we have their first and last names?
Yes, and I'll give you their addresses. But hold on. No. With there's a clear imbalance in someone getting just screwed bad, getting really taken advantage of. But I don't focus on that. I always focus on what each person is doing correctly and poorly. Because first of all, we have to trick them so that we're never or not trick them. We really aren't on anyone's side. I'm not siding with anyone. I'm for the relationship. But just focus on that. Yes, even if men have it better, which I think we do demonstrably. But there are people who argue that, I guess. So that's my opinion from what I've seen. But just be like if a guy's like, hey, this sucks, don't be like, dude, at least you're not a girl, and be like, okay, yeah, or trans, well, at least you're not a transgender. They got the worst.
So worst of both worlds.
There's always someone worse. That doesn't do any good. It just makes the other person invalidated. But anyway, virtual reality. I think I don't know what to do about that. The touch thing, the chronicle under touching, and then also the fact that like we just have to have people care about you. Like, and I guess you can have that, but they found right now through current modalities that a virtual friendship doesn't replace a real world friendship. Like it doesn't have the same predictors. They've lined the two discriminative functions against each other and shown that it just doesn't have the same one. So it's not even, it was something like to the degree of 20% or something as effective.
I would take a bullet for Sniper Guy XXX.
Sniper Guy XXX, that son of a bitch.
He's my Call of Duty buddy.
I have an interesting question. I wonder if those things have longer longevity. Like, let's say you and I, for example, are friends. Last I checked, but let's say you and I only talk in person or hang out in person once a year, and then this sort of. I wonder if these sorts of interchanges lengthen that longevity.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Like, I feel like friendships last longer now than they did 50 years ago. Like when you move to a different city, get married, start your own family, you kind of lose touch with your friends, and then naturally that makes you stop being friends. You can't really say you're friends with someone who you haven't talked to in 20 years. So I think there is something about like, when was the last time we lived in the same vicinity, the same city? Like, was it 2001, 2002?
Yeah.
And yet we're still like, I feel like we're just as close now as we were back when we were roommates. So I think there is something to be said for teleconferencing, for online gaming that kind of helps these friendships last longer than they normally would have. Yeah, super interesting research question. I wish we could figure that out somehow. It'd be like a longitudinal study, which those are hard to get together anyway. But I would really want to know, like how many like phone calls do phone calls maintain? Let's say 2 points on a 1 to 10 scale. Yeah, and does like video conferencing to seeing someone's face like add to that somehow? Yeah, probably. There's a good deal of research to show that. Well, actually, this is counterintuitive. People are so they did a Secret Service. They did a study on the Secret Service to see how their lie detection went, right? And they, and there's a lot of principles we learned in CI school from the Secret Service on how to detect lies, right? Neurolinguistics of it, like what do you do, like how do people respond, those sorts of things. There was but the interesting thing is one of the things the guy said right away was he said, "Do you think?" Because he was giving this class right on the Saturday. He said, "Do you think that we are
more likely to be able to tell a lie in person or over the phone? And he goes, who thinks in person? You know, people raise their hand. Who thinks over the phone? People raise their hand. And then obviously most of them was in person. You know, you got more data, quote unquote data. Really, it's anecdotal, but
More likely to tell a lie or more likely to detect a lie?
Detect a lie. Sorry, I have to tell if someone's lying is what I meant.
Okay.
And no, it's false. It's actually over the phone. And the reason why is because when we think about lying to someone, we think about our face and our visual cues. We're more invested on changing those and tweaking those than we are our voice. And for some reason, those hesitations, the slight hesitations, or the you know.
So the liar is actually not thinking about the sound of his voice as much as he's about the visual clues.
Exactly. So it's easier to detect those. So I think that is safely sequestered away, and I think I can still say that it's better to see face. But then again, I guess if sincerity is part of that, I mean, we might consider it over the phone. But I think seeing someone's face is a lot more important.
Yeah.
Like last time we didn't do the God Theory podcast or God Theory episode, a podcast, or this one with video.
Okay.
And I got like 12 people writing me and they're like, where's your faces, man? You guys didn't put your faces on there. But Game Theory, you guys are smart enough to figure out don't go to our YouTube. It sucks. But those guys, man. No, I'm just kidding. Our listeners there are smart too. I'm just saying that you guys have a precedent for that and they didn't. And they like people were like honest. They were like, are you going to put it back next week? I was like, yeah, I guess there's something to that. You know, you get to see the people, you know, talking, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, there's something that's lost.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's interesting to see where we're going. Like, I really want to live, like, people are like, well, then we'll never disconnect. We'll always be in the net. I want to live in that world. Like, I'm perfectly happy living in a virtual reality world. Like, to me, reality is subjective anyway. So, like, whatever we're seeing is just what our brains are telling us is happening. So, like, I don't see, like, a huge difference between what our brain, like, the perception of our brain is the bottom line, right? So whether they think it's real or whether it's actually quote unquote real, like, I'm totally happy like living in a world where Jeremiah and I could just hang out in person every single day despite not being in the same city, and we're also hunting orcs together. That's cool.
Yeah,
I'll plug into that. Like, if I was in Sword Art Online, I'd be the guy who like opens up a shop and just doesn't try and like beat the game. I'm like, yeah, this is cool. You can live in this world.
But you know, but there's a disconnect. Like whenever I play a video game, it'd have to be you, I think, or look like you. Because if you had a different character, there's a small disconnect. Like I see your character in Borderlands, for example. We play together for a few hours. Yeah,
like, hey! Like claps my hands.
Especially Claptrap. Yeah, but like even in other games, like, you know, you might have your character and your avatar is a proxy for you, but it's not. I don't feel.
Yeah. Unlike you, I rarely look like my avatar. Right? I just try out different weird looks. Like, I'm a Twi'lek now.
I always make myself, man. That's always how I envisioned it when I was a kid. I was like, what would I be like as a Jedi? That's how I still talk, actually, when I talk about Jedis. But anyway, so I always make myself. Although I've gotten away from that a little bit.
I usually just make like characters. I'm like, this guy looks just like Han Solo, and this is a weird female Twi'lek slave. And you're like, this is Jeremiah as a Sith. Now it's Jeremiah as a Jedi.
Wait, Jeremiah Consular. Yeah, it's pretty weird. I'd say I did the same in WoW, but I didn't. They all had shovel faces. They look like I hit in the face with a shovel.
This is Jeremiah if he had horrible reconstructive surgery.
Yeah. But I think this idea of like businessmen having, you know, conferences and face-to-face, I don't think that's going to happen for a while. Most business is not privy to science. They're big on like feels, you know, like I got a good feel about that deal or whatever it is, at least in my experience when I was in business. And so I think that they're going to, no, you can't do that. They live by a lot of like maxims and stuff. People who get rich are not smart. I want to get rid of that notion right now. It's like most people are like, the smartest people in the world are going to be like scientists and things. Scientists don't get paid well. And a couple of applied settings they do, but usually
people who get rich stumble on the maxims that work, and they don't think critically, but they found those first and they've just used them. And they're like, oh, that worked. Reinforcement. Yeah,
it's just like when hokey pseudoscience crap. Like there was this, I don't know if you heard about this seminar. Was it a seminar? Where was this? Or was it a study? I think it was a seminar. This is really famous in the diffusion of information literature. But what they did was they had everyone, at the end of the night. So they had like somebody with a series of numbers, if I remember right. This is rough, so I could be a little off. But it was everybody at the seminar had a series of numbers when they came in, like kind of like a lotto ticket, right? Like a raffle. And then throughout the night, he would say a number. He'd be like, oh, and the next number is blank, 2 or whatever. The first number is 1. The next number is 8, whatever. Okay, and then he'd be like, blah, 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 blah. Oh, 8. Okay, third number, 9. And so you're slowly weeding out everybody, right? But at the end, and oh no, they got to choose their numbers. I think that was it. But whatever it was at the end, the like 5 people who won was like, I knew it the whole time. I knew I did it right. And then they're like, okay, but how about everyone else? Did they know they also did it right? Right.
Right. We always feel like we knew it after we, like the hindsight bias.
Yeah. And they would talk about the method of which that they chose their numbers. Like it was some winning scenario. It's just evolution. Like it just happened to be the one that
some things are going to work and they're going to survive.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And so that's usually what happens with rich people. Like, because there are consultants that go out and try to get these businesses built, and a lot of them don't work. And so I'm like, you're going to get some, but a lot of that doesn't stand up to math whenever we apply science to it.
If there was science behind it, everyone would be rich because you could replicate the experiment.
Exactly. Yeah. Consultation. This is especially bad in business. Like Michelle, my sister, is working in a business environment right now, and she calculated the return on investment for one of their marketing plans from a marketing business. They came in, they're like, we're going to grow your business. Here's how we're going to do it. And then she calculated the return on interest after a year, and it was I can't remember. I think it was $42 out of 4,000 spent. She's like, we're at like 0.001%, and we're going to re-up with them this year. And they were like,
it's a profit.
It's good. I mean, it makes sense, it's sound principles. And she's like, yeah, but does it work? I mean, just because the reason there. Yeah. So anyway, it's the difference between like philosophy and science. Like philosophy, yeah, it makes sense. Whenever you say something, you can theorize about it all day, but until you test it, I'm not interested in really getting into it. But anyway, that's not about virtual reality.
Yes, well, we went afield, but it's an interesting conversation. But yeah, it'll be let's bookmark this episode, and 20 years from now, let's look back at it and see how things look. Because I feel like either it's going to be exactly the same. Like we're having these paradigm shifts, right? Like Mario 64 was a paradigm shift for gaming. It took us from a 2-dimensional platformer to 3-dimensional. Pac-Man to Mario Brothers was a paradigm shift. We had the idea of adding new screens instead of just the same screen every level. It's like you continually scroll on. It seems like we've been kind of caught in a glut. Like there's been no paradigm shifts. It's just been higher resolution graphics, but the same kind of gameplay. So this could be the next big paradigm shift, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see looking back if this is where it happened.
Yeah, this will be interesting. It'll be interesting apart. Like you usually see people, you're gonna get like variation, in like how people use this new science, or this new technology. And I like to see the people who fall on the wayside who used it weirdly and it didn't work. You know what I mean? Like imagine like a Wii U game that came out that someone tried to develop. There's gonna be 80,000 different ideas. Like one or two of them might fall way afield, and you're like, what in the hell? Like I want to see how people do that with virtual reality, like a bad idea, because it seems like anything would be cool if it was in virtual reality.
I think the Virtual Boy was the first casualty of that war. Remember that?
Yeah. Or 3D. Good God, stop making movies in 3D. I don't care. I don't watch those. But that's just me. But cool. Yeah, I think it's an interesting question. We'll see what happens.
But if you guys have any thoughts on virtual reality, you can contact us at thegametheorypodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, or you can follow us on Twitter at Game Theory Pod, on Twitter at Game Theory Pod.
And feel free to join our Facebook group, which is groups/Game Theory Podcast, facebook.com.
Yep. It grows pretty steadily. It's slowed down a little bit. I don't know why. I guess I do. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I don't go to their fan pages or anything. So, but we've only got like, I think 190 members or something on there, which is, a fraction of the people who listen. But I think it's great. I think it's a great page. Everyone's great, fun, good entertainment, and they post news and like funny little opinions. So I like it.
You might say it's the elite of our listeners.
Yeah, it's the elite club. Yeah, but other than that, thanks for tuning in. For anyone watching the YouTube page or the YouTube, I don't know why you are, but hey, I appreciate it. Appreciate it anyway. And
get this thumbs up that no one else can see.
Yep, there you go. But also, I'm recording a little bit early because Sunday is Father's Day, and I don't want to spend my day podcasting and then editing. So I'm not gonna do that.
You should be lavished with adoration on
yes,
Father's Day.
Give me your adulation. What is an adulation? Is an adulation? Is that it?
Yeah, that's the word. Adulation. Adoration is the word I made up, but adulation is the correct word.
Holy cow! All right. Well, So thanks everyone, and we'll see you guys in about a week.
Bye.